The show's about to start. Are you ready? What's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of Houday Nation and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, do me a favor. If you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. This is unbelievable. We're at 912 yesterday as far as subscribers go on YouTube. We are at 922 as of right now. I appreciate you guys. That is awesome. We are rolling. Let's keep it going. Try to get to 1,000 as fast as we can. Now, this show and every show is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out their website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. All right, guys. Guest day. We had his co-host on the show last week. We had Zim. Today we got Ace Boogie from Orange is the New Black podcast. But first of all, I have to bring in this guy.
Sorry,
Jeremy Don Bag Dean.
Hey,
what's up?
Sorry, I'm not the boogeyman, bro. But hey, look, check it out. He's coming. I'm excited about it. I know y'all were probably thinking he was going to throw him up there. Then you saw my ugly mug for the millionth time. So he's coming. I'll promise you that. And I'm excited for it.
All right, well, let's get to it. Ace, what's going on, brother? I don't have you up. Daggone, I hit the button.
There we go.
Computer. Oh, man, come on now.
I think the Steelers tried to block me from getting in here, man. What's going on, fellas?
I had it all set up. I hit the intro. I hit you, and then you're not there. I'm like, daggone it. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Doing great, bro. I'm doing great, especially around this time in free agency. Bengals have been very active, so I can't complain, bro. I can't complain.
No, dude. I mean, I'm ecstatic with the off season. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a lot of what we did last year, but like. We were all talking here before the show started. I'm okay with it because this draft is full, and I'm not kidding, full of two things: wide receivers and offensive linemen. If what I hope they do, and it might be a pipe dream, but you never know, it possibly could happen. I'd take Chase at 5, and if Leatherwood is there, I'd take him all day in the second round. And dude, the rest of it would be gravy after that for me.
Definitely facts. I mean, for me, like we can kind of say that it's similar to last season. I think it's even more, bro. Like me personally, they never last year on the first day of free agency signed someone. I can't right. Like if someone can give me the facts where on the very first day of free agency they signed someone, then just let me know where they paid this mind-numbing amount of money to anyone. Because I remember last year around this time, this is how I know that they didn't do it on the first day, because I had a full-blown meltdown on the podcast with them after the first day of free agency. I was sitting there like, look, they lied to us. They told us they were going to be active in free agency. No one's getting there to them. And then all of a sudden, day 2, it's boom, boom, boom. And for this one, it was day 1, it was a boom. Day 2, it was a boom. And the other thing that makes a difference is, for me, like Bobby Hart, people wanted him cut last year, right? There's a lot of guys that should have been cut last year that weren't cut last year. They did that this season. They're looking at all guys that they can trim in terms of fat, getting them out of there. They're doing it. You get Ryan Finley traded. Like initially they're going to cut Ryan Finley, and then they're like, hey, let's move up around and get rid of him. That's smart. That's a smart way of doing it. And then you get a guy like Riley Reef to come in here, and then all of the guys, like the other thing was, when we used to, if you go back like 5 years ago, right, Marvin Lewis era, we would sign guys, but they would be like over the hill and, for lack of a better word, washed at that point. We weren't signing 25-year-old guys that still had 5 to 6 seasons left in their career, and that's what they really have done. All the guys that they've signed, with the exception of Reef, have essentially been young guys that are like 25, and it's like they're just stacking and stacking and stacking, and you're just wondering, like, I don't think that they're done yet. Like, they're still bringing other guys in. You talk about them also being linked to someone like Kenny Golladay. Like, I don't know how long some people have been following the Bengals, but I have literally never seen an offseason like this where they're like even mentioned as a team that's interested in one of the top receivers on the market. Like, I've never seen that. I don't even think we saw that last year.
The cool thing is he contacted the Bengals.
Right.
It wasn't the other way around. And he was actually legitimately considering it until, the Giants went and paid him way more money than I think the Bengals were willing to. But I'm curious. What I was hoping to announce today was a sign of Kerrigan, but I haven't heard anything. Do you know if he's still in town, or did they go to Pre-Stink? Did the Steak Burrow? Did that work?
I'm not sure, man. I was going to try to DM Jeff Ruby to see like what's going on. Was there a visit or anything like that? But honestly, I haven't had a chance to follow up on that. We haven't heard anything. So I think sometimes no news is good news. It hasn't been reported that he's left Cincinnati.
Right.
So that would mean, like, if he took a visit to Cincinnati, like, they want him and he is interested in being there. It looks like, I think the only thing that I saw was that he wants to be guaranteed a starting position, which I don't think that's too far-fetched with our defense if he is to come over. So it'll be interesting to see. I haven't heard anything as of yet, so we'll see.
Hell, I'd start him and rotate Hubbard. That's fine with me. That's cool with me. Go ahead, Jeremy. I'll let you jump in here. I've been talking a lot. Go for it.
Hey, man, that it's been good. And I just like you were saying, Ace, man, we kind of did what we did last year, but I guess we supersized it to the point to now where we've got all these linemen that everybody's worried about. The Bengals haven't done anything on the line. They re-signed Quentin Spain, and then we go out and get Riley Reef, up in age. But the fact of the matter is, like you were saying, there's so much depth, and Jeff, you too, in this draft with linemen. I mean, we could be literally at the point of still drafting starting caliber linemen into the 4th round, even if you ask me. Just because of where we are, we're 5th, so we're going to be 5th, throughout. And I also just wanted to really kind of get your gist on how you feel about the players we've taken, and if you feel like it's, even though we've supersized, I guess you could say, what we did last year, the players that we've taken, do you feel like this is now a potential with a healthy Burrow? We can maybe stay away from the injury bug just a little bit. That's a team that's looking at least, 10, 11 wins maybe next year.
10 or 11 wins, I can't say that as of now, just because of how good this division is. But I think that they're definitely competitive, and I think that they're not a team that you can really sleep on. I think one thing that you hit on, too, is they did upgrade in several areas. Right tackle is an upgrade. It's a huge upgrade, right? So if you have 2 bookend tackles, that at least solidifies that line right there. You have Trey Hopkins coming back, who's a center. He was already probably arguably our best lineman, unless you want to consider that Jonah Williams. So you got those 3 spots solidified. You can go into this draft and really shore up those other 2 positions if need be. But I think even with the guys that you have, you're a much better team than you were last year, simply because you have guys that are younger, less injury prone, that are going to be in there. And then possibly you have guys that can do and bring other things to the table. I was privy to some inside information about Lou Anarumo and about this defense in terms of what he wanted to do.
You gotta. We refer to him as Armadillo here. Until he starts winning, he's Armadillo.
I'm with you guys. I'm not saying that I'm a huge Lou fan. I think though, from what I heard was when he came in, and you have to remember before he came in, no one wanted this defensive coordinator job, right? I personally wanted the guy from UF, right? And he comes here and he's like, there's no way I can make this happen. If you're not going to let me put my imprint on this team, get my personnel, there's no way that I'm taking this job. So Lou takes the job, right? But from what I've heard, there's been a lot of, okay, if you guys are going to give me this job, you got to let me get rid of some of the players that don't fit my scheme. And a lot of people were pressing against him on that. And they were like, no, you can't get rid of Geno. You can't get rid of Carlos Dunlap. You can't get rid of William Jackson III and all of that. And he's like, okay, I understand that, but you got to understand this defense finished 30th last year, and those guys were on it. So there's been a little bit of a struggle between that. And now I am not a Lou Anarumo fan. And so if he has his guys now, that can't be an excuse anymore. Yeah. It can't be that Carlos Dunlap doesn't fit my scheme. Geno Atkins doesn't fit my scheme. William Jackson doesn't get enough interceptions, which is something that I heard. So now these are your guys, Lou. Or Armadillo. So it's on you. It's on you. So if the Bengals go out and this defense is completely trash and worse, which isn't hard to be more trash than we were last year, but if you're worse than that, you're out of here, buddy. Like week 3, you're probably packing your bags and you're going somewhere else. So I think now he finally has his defense. You know, we went from a scheme that was a 4-3 to a 3-4, which was crazy because we had Willie on our show, and he said that he was like, the Bengals aren't going to get any sacks if they're switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4, and then we end up having 17 sacks. So you've got your guys, Armadillo. Do what you got to do with them. If not, you're out of here, bro. I think his leash is pretty short now. They're giving him all of these players that he went out and got. They're supposed to fit your scheme. If your scheme doesn't work, then you're out of here. That's just how I'm looking at it.
Oh no, I'm with you, man. He's got no excuses. And I think the thing me and Jeremy talked about a lot during the season is what is his scheme?
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, he doesn't. Because, dude, the game I keep bringing up to in the draw, I was yelling at the TV screen is the Indianapolis game. How many times do we see tight ends, running backs run right over the middle, wide freaking open, and nobody's by them? And then
or the cover zero. I'm just going to play man all game with no help.
He was about to.
Yeah, I'm like, what are we doing? I'm like, it drove me nuts. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. And like, you can sit there, you can watch the DVs right before that they hike the ball. They're backing up. Like, they're only got to go 5 yards. Why are you backing up?
On 3rd and 15, it wouldn't matter. If it was 3rd and 15, we were backing up, and they were just tossing them on us. And just to get back to Lou real quick, and then we can move on from him. Trust me, but I don't know if I've ever seen a defensive coordinator in my life, to be honest with you, get 2 really full years of a draft.
Free agency, more or less.
Well, free agency and draft. We went. 3 linebackers?
You're right.
Yeah. I mean, free agency and draft, and then a whole other free agency and whatever's coming in the draft, and be as bad as he was this year, like you said, unless something seriously changes, Ace, like I was saying, we're not in trouble. He's in trouble because we can't go 2 years with 2 different types of defenses. We're trying to go 3-4, trying to go 4-3. We changed players up both years. There's just no way he can still be here. I still wonder why he is sometimes, to be honest with you.
Some of that, man, and it was pissing me off last year. I hope I can say that on here. It was pissing me off last year because – and I was on Twitter talking about it. It's funny that you mentioned the Colts game, right? I was privy to a lot of that drama that was going on last season. And eventually – to me, it just really came between coaches' egos and players' egos. Like, yeah, you might not like this guy, but why are you not playing them to the detriment of this team? Why are you trying to prove your points of I don't want William Jackson on this team by playing him and putting him in certain positions? Why are you playing Carlos Dunlap or benching him on the bench to make it look like he's lost a step so that you can get your way? It just should have been more. It just should have been handled the right way, man. Every time you get a new coaching staff in, a lot of those guys, there's always a lot of turnover. And the Bengals, for some reason, chose to not do that. So what you end up with is a lot of guys that were Marvin guys, and they're not that guy for that coach. And the coach doesn't want them or like them. And then it just was ridiculous to me because to me, it's like, is the priority winning games? Or is it, this is why this guy shouldn't be out there. Right. This is why I'm going to play this guy over this guy. This is why I'm not going to play this guy, even though it ends up being that we lose and give up the lead that we gave to the Colts for them to come and beat us. And it honestly was aggravating watching this play out, knowing what I knew. I couldn't say this stuff publicly because I didn't want to get anyone in trouble, but it's just mind-boggling, man, to see like how it played out. So I think it's just best that he finally has his guys. We'll see. But honestly, the cover zero, the decisions that were made, not good ones at all.
Yeah, I heard that same thing. It's like you got these players here, and he from what I've heard is he's stubborn. He's more to prove that that he wants his guys and not to put the guys that he has on the team in the best position to succeed. And I'm like, if you're a coach and if you're a good coach, you should be able to make whatever player you got and put him in the best position to succeed. And Armadillo didn't do that. And from what I've heard, just like you said, I've heard he's refused to do that. And to me, I'm like, what the hell kind of coach is that? That doesn't, I mean, I don't know how you keep your job when you like, hey, I'm paying these players to do this, but you're going to make them look bad and make us lose games. Like, what's up with that? That don't make any sense.
Yeah. And Ace, another thing too, I don't know if you were a big fan of it, but at the same time, you could watch our defense and you can see Carl Lawson, who's going to go somewhere and he's going to get some sacks. But a lot of the time under Lou's leadership and coordination, you'd see Lawson dropping back to cover a tight end or to go into a zone more than you would see him going after the quarterback. Yep. People wonder why he had 5.5 sacks. There's your answer, man, to me. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, but I hated watching him go back.
All I can say, my guys, is you guys know that I have sources close to Carl. Those were things that were being asked of him that were just questionable. Honestly, I don't know if it was a thing where they knew that if he put up 10 sacks, that they'd have to pay him everything. But I can just say they weren't the biggest fans of Carl Lawson. Like, so a funny story is I said that on Twitter in like a cryptic way, right? Carl Lawson jumps in my DM and he's like, what do you mean? What's going on? What are you hearing? And I'm like, bro, you just got to do what you can to make them keep you. And that was the game against the Steelers where he went out and he absolutely demolished those guys and just played his game. That's all I'll say. He just played his game and we saw what happened.
Yeah, we had somebody on the chat's blowing up. Anthony, I think he said that Kerrigan has left, is what where he's reporting. Now I don't know where Anthony, if you can tell me where you got that information from, because I've been looking at Twitter and everybody else and nobody's reported anything about it. So that was news to me. So but anyway,
I'm guessing if something was going to happen, it would probably happen by now. Is what I'm thinking, but we'll see.
Now, all right, let's get into the topic that I actually titled the show with until we got in all over Armadillo is Gio. The reports are that now what I read was teams are contacting the Bengals about possibly trading Gio. Now, my opinion is if you ain't getting at least a second round pick for him, it ain't worth trading him because yes, he hasn't been used the way we all want him to in the last couple of years. But the other and hopefully with a better offensive line, they'll be able to use him more and not have to leave him in to pass protect so much because he is the best pass protector as far as the running backs go, and he's also the shortest guy. But my point is, I guess, I'm not giving him up for a 7th round pick. I'm not giving him up for a developmental edge rusher. This is Giovani Bernard, dude. He's good. I don't know how you feel about that, Ace.
So for me, it comes along with what that does. I think if you trade Gio, if I'm not mistaken, I think it saves you about $5 million. Right, so I think because of that, like if you were just trading Gio and he had a low contract and you weren't making those cap savings, I think you could get a second round pick for him. But because you're giving that to someone else where they have to pay the $5 million, that's going to lower it a little bit. I think the reason that teams are calling about him though is because this running back class is weak. It's right. Top heavy. Right. After you get past those guys, there's no one there really that would really prove to be a threat like Giovani Bernard could be. And I think the other thing is other teams saw that we just extended Samaje Perine for 2 years. So other teams are like, all right, they just gave Mixon a big contract. They just extended Samaje Perine. That must mean that Gio is available. So for me, he does kind of make sense. I love Gio. I told you guys before the show came on, Gio's one of my favorite players, bro. He's one of my favorite Bengals of all time, honestly. And it sounds crazy, but you think about Hard Knocks. We kind of had a relationship with him from that minivan until now. He signed multiple contracts. And I remember the years where the Bengals never had a guy like Giovani Bernard. I wanted one of those guys so bad. He reminded me of kind of like that Reggie Bush dynamic guy that can just move and scatter. And we've grown with him. And he's been a model citizen in Cincinnati. He's done a lot of work in Haiti. He's an admirable guy. He's a team captain. I mean, but it's not a surprise other teams are calling about him because we haven't been able to utilize him and Joe Mixon together in this backfield. And other teams like the Saints, probably not the Saints, but the Patriots or someone like that can probably utilize the skills a bit better. He could probably have a bigger role with another team. So it just makes sense that you would at least dangle him out there or other teams would at least be interested in him because I think he's got a lot left on the tires. I think he does a lot, as you said, in the pass game. He can catch, he can run. Honestly, he deserves to not just be sitting on a bench somewhere. So
I completely agree with that part. Yeah, I wish they'd use him more. And the thing is, too, with the contract, before they signed Perine, with Mixon's contract, with Gio's contract, I think they were in the top 10% of money that they've put toward running backs. There's only two of them, and now you got Perine. So it's a lot of money toward our running game. So right. I can't see that. I mean, that was one of the things I did suggest that when we're talking about salary cap cutting moves, I suggested Gio might be one. I didn't want him to do it because he's so high, and just so we have more money to go get more weapons and more offensive linemen. So it's still an option, but again, I bring it back to what I keep saying about this offseason that I've loved about the Bengals. They had options. They have put themselves in the great position to get options. And I listened to a podcast where they're like, well, they cornered themselves for the draft where they had to take a wide receiver and they had to take an offensive lineman. Okay, this draft, like I said before, is full of wide receivers and offensive linemen. So I don't think they cornered themselves. They got
how are they cornering themselves? And I keep saying this. How are they cornering themselves at wide receiver and tackle when they have Riley Reif? He's a starting tackle. They still have Jonah Williams. And at wide receiver, you have T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Like, what is this thing where people are acting like we have the Ravens wide receiver core? Yeah. We don't. We have two guys that can get 1,000 yards. You can easily follow that up in the second round and get another guy that's going to be added to this. I mean, T. Higgins just did it last season. So I don't know. For me, it's just kind of wild because when you look back at it, Allen Robinson was a second round pick. Tyreek Hill was a fourth round pick. You don't have to pick wide receivers in the first round. You can get a wide receiver. I mean, Marvin Jones was taken in the fifth round. Mohamed Sanu was taken in the third round. You can get those guys in any different round, and this class is loaded. So you're probably going to get another good one there in the second round. You don't have to pick a wide receiver at 5. You don't have to pick a tackle at 5. You literally could pick the best player available, in my opinion, at 5, unless it's a quarterback. Obviously, you're not picking that, but they still could pick the best player available. I think that they opened their draft board up more with signing a guy like Reif.
Right. And what the thing too is if they have a run on quarterbacks and these teams behind the Bengals that are hoping one of these quarterbacks will drop to them, they're going to be calling the Bengals saying, hey, what do you want to get up to 5? And I know if we drop back down, Chase might be gone, Pitts might be gone, but I'm telling you, there's still, I mean, Waddle.
There's still other good receivers. Waddle. I know people don't like Smith because of the side. He's still good. He won. I mean, anybody else is going to take him. Once Jamar Chase is going, they're going to take Waddle and they're going to take Smith. Like it's point blank period. Like you're going to be able to pick any of those guys.
Right. And if you drop
first
back
round guys
and you drop back out of the first round and you get 2 second rounders, you can get 2 offensive linemen right there. You can
Exactly.
get a guard and a tackle, and with 2 second-round picks, plus you get a wide receiver.
Right.
What is everybody freaking out about?
Or like we said, like we were talking about yesterday, Jeff. Everybody's screaming receiver. We didn't get a receiver. Even if we take Chase, and we're big on Chase, just because.
I want Chase. I want Chase all day, every day. I've tweeted that out.
Yeah, and just to be honest with you, bro, I grew up in Columbus. I'm born, bred, raised a Buckeye, man. I live in Alabama now, so I watch a lot of SEC football, and I watched every game with Joe Burrow, and it was between him and Chase, they were just magic together. I thought, the back shoulder passes were just like, they were there. There wasn't any inconsistency, hardly ever. So that gets me excited with him. What I want to know for you, the way we sit right now, are you high on Chase and Burrow getting back together, or would you rather add to the line? You're the GM. What would you do? Uh-oh.
Ace, you there, brother? You are frozen.
We didn't lose him, man.
Frozen in time.
I want him to be the GM.
Well, maybe he can jump back on.
Yeah, he's probably listening to us right now. Like, I'm trying to get this done. Shut up, you idiots. Hold on a second.
Stupid computer. All right, let's see here. Let me see. Jump him out of there. Hopefully he can jump back on. Anthony said he saw it on Bengals Nation. So was that a tweet from somebody, or what's the source other than Bengals Nation?
Was it news?
Yeah, that's people could post that. Hold on, Ace is back.
Like ESPN.
About that, guys. So
What's up, brother?
I think Jeremy, my internet was going in and out, but I think you were asking me.
No.
Or if I would prefer some offensive linemen, correct?
Yeah, I was pretty much just saying you're the GM. The way we sit right now, how do you go about the draft?
So if it were me, I think that you definitely consider Chase at 5. I think that there's a real possibility, though, that he's going to go at 3. Like, I don't think people are really counting.
No.
Man, this is good. I'm gonna get good information, and all I see is this pretty face frozen.
I know. All we're getting is a pretty face right now, Ace, man. Pretty face Ace. What another nickname.
All right, he'll try to jump back on here.
Yeah, we'll get him back.
But yeah, he is right. There is a very good chance that Chase might not even be there.
That's true.
And that honestly, I'll break my heart. But
it would. Me too.
If he's not there, the Bengals aren't going to trade up. I don't want the Bengals to trade up.
No.
There's no reason to trade up. Chase is awesome. I love Chase, but there's no reason to trade up for him. There's no reason to give up draft picks and draft capital because we need that.
Yeah,
I would
explain
honestly at this point, if Chase is gone and Pitts is gone, I'm hoping somebody calls the Bengals to trade back. Yeah, I want 2 second round picks, and then you can go from there.
You explained it. You pretty much, dead on. If we can't get Chase, if we can, I hope we get him. If we can't, it's not the end all be all. Just because we didn't get our 5th pick doesn't mean we can't move back to 10 and still get a Waddle or something like that. Whatever, doesn't matter. But anyway, there he is. All right,
about that. All right, so. In terms of the way that I see it, you could look at 3 guys, right? And I think you take any 3 of them, whichever one is there at 5. It really comes down to whether that's Penei Jamar Chase, and I think Kyle Pitts. I think that those are your 3 guys, depending on which order they're going, who's available there, you take them. If they're not there for some odd reason, I think that you could also consider a guy like Waddle if you move back. I think that you could also consider Devonta Smith. I'm not afraid to say that. I think any of those guys that you move back, you can consider, even Slater, right? But I think for me, the top 3 guys are Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase, And I would probably say after that, Kyle Pitts. I honestly would like Pitts even more because a lot of people don't realize the tight end position for us is a weakness. You look around the rest of the NFL, the Bengals probably have the worst collection of tight ends in the entire NFL. And I love CJ Uzoma, but the thing about it is he's coming back from an Achilles injury. He's in the last year of his contract. He was a guy that was in the Marvin Lewis era. There's no telling whether they're going to keep him. Drew Sample is okay, but he's a guy that you play with another tight end. He can't be the guy. He showed you last year he couldn't be the guy. He had one touchdown the entire season. And the tight end position is important because you can't have guys that blitz linebackers if you have Kyle Pitts there. That's just not going to happen. But if you have Drew Sample there, they're still going to blitz. If you have CJ Uzoma there, they're probably still going to blitz. But if you have Kyle Pitts there, you can line them up there. You can also line them up at receiver. I mean, honestly, if you're talking about freaks of nature, just from a draft standpoint, and I was talking to Willie Anderson about this, he was saying the guy that you pick at number 5, if it's a receiver, he has to be a freak of nature. Jamar Chase is good. Devonta Smith is good. Jalen Waddle is good. They're not freaks of nature. They're not 6'4" guys that are monsters that run 4.3s that are just can't miss prospects. But you know who is? Kyle Pitts is. He's a 6'4" guy, 240. He runs a 4.4. Like, I mean, to me, he would do so much for this offense just with him being on the field. So I think any 3 of those guys, Jamar Chase, I would love just because he's got the connection with Burrow already. You already know what you're getting with Penei Sewell. You're going to get a guy that's going to help out Joe Burrow from an offensive line standpoint. Any 3 of those guys you could take. I think just whatever. Like, I'm taking any one of them. I just want one of those players that come in the top 5 because generally they're either going to be elite, they're either going to be Pro Bowlers, or they're going to be Hall of Famers if you get the right ones.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I kind of keep trying to tell Bengals fans is like one of those guys are going to be there. I always throw in I want not Spain, Slater. I always throw him in there too, but I personally don't want to take him at 5. I think that's a reach. So I think they could drop back and they could take Slater too. But I honestly, the way they've done this, I don't think they're going to take an offensive lineman at 5 or in the first round. You know, unless Pitts and Chase are gone, then I think that changes everything. But if Pitts or Chase, that's who I think they're going to try and get. I really do. Now, let's get some of these questions in here because I know people are blowing it up, and I'm trying to get to them, guys. You guys are awesome. All right, Robert. Why did we not trade Green, Dunlap, and Gio at the right time? You're not signing Gio after this year. Why not get something for him? That's a good question. I mean, I wanted them to trade those guys 2 years ago because we were, not doing so hot. And that was when I don't know. That was back when the Bengals held on to people too long, I think. And I think their philosophy has changed in that. So that's why there is a chance that they could trade Gio. I'm not saying they're not going to. But to me, that's been a philosophy change over the past 2 years. Because, I mean, we released Bobby Hart. We cut the guy from Seattle, which I know wasn't a big deal. But we cut Gino. We cut these guys, and there's still money left there. So that's why I think they didn't do it then. It's a change of philosophy in the last 2 years, I think. I don't know. What do you think about that, guys?
Myself personally, and then I'll send it right back down to you, Ace, man. You know way more about this than I do. I just think that it can be hard to let go of a couple players that have done what they've done in Cincinnati for as many years as they've done it. And I think that had a little bit to do with maybe not getting rid of them at the right time, like he was saying. But at the end of the day, we should have. But go ahead, Ace, man. Whatever your thoughts are, bro.
I mean, I think you guys have great thoughts, man. I love what you guys are doing here. I think like you said, man, I'm just going to piggyback off what you said. It's hard to say goodbye to some of those players. I mean, yes, Zach Taylor and other guys don't have that connection to them, but the front office does. They've grown up in this building. They were drafted by us. They were extended by us. I'm pretty sure their families interact and things of that nature. And it's just a tough business, bro. It's a tough business. But sometimes that stuff has to be done. I was a little disappointed because I was one of the guys that campaigned for keeping guys around like Gino and stuff like that, just to establish the culture, right? Like just to have a guy like the Cardinals do with Larry Fitzgerald, where he's a Cardinal for life. I just want one Bengals player to be a Bengal for life, and it just hasn't. The stars haven't aligned that way, bro. And they just haven't aligned that way to where we start to establish some culture and just have people that want to be Bengals. We come from an era where there were guys that didn't want to be Bengals. Let's just be real. Like back in the 90s, early 2000s, people wanted to get away from here. They didn't want to retire here. They couldn't wait to get on the first train out of Cincinnati. So I wanted that culture, but at the same time, you do have to move on when it's time to move on. And it sucks. It sucks, especially to lose a guy like AJ Green. I mean, this is my favorite Bengal of all time. Gave me a great opportunity, a great guy. I've talked to him. He's just a great guy. And, the hope is if they're not going to keep these guys and they have to move on from them, you just hope that you see something that you see with other teams where the guy signs a one-day contract or something like that to retire a Bengal. Yes. I think Andrew Whitworth said that he'd be willing to do that on Willie Anderson's pod or his Instagram live last year. That's the best thing I think that you can hope for, but it hurts, bro. Yeah. It hurts.
Yeah, I think Witt should do that. AJ should do it, and Gino. Well, those three for sure. Whenever they're done, should sign a one-day contract and retire as Bengals. Now, the one guy that, as you said, you want somebody to stick around and be a Bengal for life. If it goes the way we think it's going to be, that guy's going to be Joe freaking Burrow. That'll be the guy who's, if it goes the way we think, he's going to be the guy that's the Bengal for life. So, he better be, or, we're going to run into the same stuff we had with Carson and, Boomer ended up leaving, but hopefully that'll happen.
I will say, Drew Brees never retired with the team that he did. Tom Brady did it, and Peyton Manning did it. So it's almost you hope for the best.
Brett Favre didn't.
You think about Brett Favre. You think about all of these guys. You hope for the best, and hopefully we can have Joe, like you're saying, Iceman, be that guy that's going to retire as a Bengal. I would love that.
See, I'm thinking more like Kevin Huber.
Hey, that's a smart bet, bro.
Right?
That's a smart bet.
Right.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the first person that retired as a Bengal, like on purpose, that did the one-day contract thing, I think it was Shane Graham, wasn't it?
I'm pretty
dude, I actually forgot about that. It might have been Shane Graham.
He came back and he retired a Bengal. So
sure.
Well, another one that actually played his whole career here, kicker, is Jim Breach.
Jim Breach.
Drafted him, and he was here for both Super Bowls. I think. He was in the free ball. Yeah, he was here for both Super Bowls, and I can't remember who was the guy who dug. Oh my goodness, I'm the kicker who replaced him, Doug Pelfrey.
Pelfrey.
That's the guy who replaced him, and then Breach.
The funny thing is always that T.O. retired a Bengal, but nobody really knows.
Yeah. Everybody forgets that. That was the Batman and Robin day. Chad was like, I'm Robin to his Batman.
That's what name go, man. What happened? I came to Cincinnati. Yeah.
That's one thing I was saying. I was like, Tio, he doesn't know what team he's going to go into the Hall of Fame as. I was like, why not the Bengals? You ended your career with the Bengals. I mean, come on. Right. Now, this is something we posted up on the Strawberry Ice page. I think this is a long shot. I don't think this is going to happen, but I think it's something interesting to discuss. But Alton Smith, he got released by the Cowboys. You got him out there. You got Clowney out there. What do you think the options are? Is there a chance? I don't know. Just coming to the Bengals, take a 1-year prove-it deal, like 90% of the guys that they've signed.
I think Alton Smith is definitely possible. I'd be intrigued to see that. He is getting long in the tooth, but he's still a guy that, with his suspensions and with his off-the-field issues, that did lead to him not having as much wear or tread on the tires as other guys. So he's still serviceable. The only thing is what's going on with the character concerns in the Bengals, because it seems like in recent history under Zach Taylor, they don't really like taking those character concern guys. Mm-hmm. When you talk about Clowney, I'm probably considered somewhat of a Clowney hater. I think he's the most overrated guy that one of the most overrated players that I've ever seen, because everyone, like, when he was drafted, it was all about the hit. It's like one hit, one play.
One hit made him a freaking millionaire.
Yeah. Made him the number 1 draft pick, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. So then he goes to the Texans, right? He plays with literally some of the best defensive linemen in NFL history. Vince Wilfork, J.J. Watt, and what did he do? Yep. He barely produced there. And then he leaves. He goes to another team. That doesn't work out. Then he's with the Titans last year. It doesn't work out. He's not a 10-sack guy. He's not worth, to me, like 18 or 16 million. I would run away from Clowney, to be honest with you. He's honestly just really a good run defender at this point in his career. He's not a sack artist. So for me, I'd actually want to pass on him, to be honest. And I know some people are going to be like, what? You pass on Clowney? But I'd rather pay a guy like Alden Smith that's going to come way cheaper, that's been way better when it comes to getting sacks and rushing the passer than Clowney has been than Clowney.
But yeah, you got that whole character thing, and I'm not against. That's the one thing I actually do like, because I know when Marvin Lewis first got here, we had so many, like every week a Bengal was getting arrested or something, and even not as bad through the 5-year run, but it was still wasn't I mean. Let's be real here. We had a freaking meltdown, and that's the reason we lost the damn game against the Squealers in the playoffs. We had a complete freaking meltdown.
Jeremy Hill.
Jeremy. Okay, after that, Jeremy Hill, yes. Jeremy Hill, if you don't fumble the freaking ball, yes. But the rest of it. Anyway.
I wanted to change my name.
Oh my
No,
God.
that was a tough one, man. But the one thing I'll say is, when Marvin Lewis first came, we did have a bunch of guys with questionable history, but some of that wasn't actually Marvin Lewis's fault. Some of that was Mike Brown. Honestly, he liked a lot of those guys that had some checkered history, and he kind of tried to take care of them and take them under his wing.
He did,
and sometimes it just didn't work out. But after that, they started getting better character guys, but they couldn't shake that early 2000s stigma that we had, because you got to remember, guys were getting arrested, DUIs, all kind of stuff. But when you think back to the 2010 through 15, none of that stuff was happening, but people still had in their minds what the Bengals used to be from way back then, and they kind of said that was them now. And so they might have had one or two guys, but it wasn't like the collection of guys that they had in the early 2000s, where they were just in the news every other week for something, and it was insane. But yeah, I always think about back to that 2015 game too, and there's certain things that I actually know about that, and people always make Vontaze and Adam Jones the scapegoat, right? But the guy
Hill. If Hill don't fumble the ball, it don't matter.
If
Hill don't fumble the freaking ball, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But here's the thing. Here's the other thing. If you go back and watch that game, and I know this because I knew a source that was close to Tez that told me all of this stuff before it came out. When people were still thinking that the Steelers, he was the coach for the Steelers. He was a linebacker.
Joey Porter, I can't stand him.
Joey Porter. When people were thinking Porter was doing crazy stuff, I knew the true story.
Yeah.
It all really started. The person who started the whole thing, Wallace Gilberry. It was not Pac-Man Jones. It was not Vontaze Burfict. What happened was, before the game, and I think I can tell this now, Wallace Gilberry, who used to play for Todd Haley, who was the coach of the Chiefs. He played on the Chiefs when Todd Haley was there. Todd Haley was the offensive coordinator or the quarterback's coach for the Steelers at the time. There was word that he put a bounty on Wallace Gilberry's head, and it got to Wallace Gilberry. So he was worked up already. If you watch the play where Adam Jones and all of that stuff happens, just watch Gilberry and see what happens. And so that happens. Joey Porter wasn't saying anything bad to Vontaze Burfict. He was saying, I see you, 55, giving him respect. That was what was happening. Adam took it the wrong way because he came in and saw what Wallace Gilberry did and reacted that way, and that's what spiraled everything out of control. But yeah, man, it's deeper than what we kind of saw, man.
Oh, dude, there's always more. It's always 2 sides, 3 sides to every story. There's always more to it than we'll ever know. I mean, to be honest, but just for me, and I've told this story on the show before. I remember I jinxed it. I'm like, we got that. AJ got that touchdown, and then Vontaze intercepts the ball in the end zone, and I'm about to cry. I'm looking at my son, going, we're going to win a playoff game. Right. And then Jeremy Hill fumbles the ball. And then Burfict hits him in the head. Yeah. And then hell breaks loose. And they kick a field goal. And we lose the game.
Yeah. All within 5 minutes. I was with my 73-year-old dad who has seen both Super Bowls, watched us lose both Super Bowls. He is a complete diehard Bengal fan. I've never seen him cry in my life, and I could have swore he was tearing up after that interception because he thought this is the team that we can get there. And that's one thing I'll never forget about that game, which it wasn't that long ago. But just seeing him and this, tough old Army dude, and just to see that much passion, and it's the same kind that he instilled in me as a kid.
Right.
And you know what? We may have the worst luck in the world.
Yeah, we do.
But I think we're the luckiest to be a part of Bengal Nation and to be a part of this team. I really do.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Now I got a question. I don't know if you got to see the beginning of my show, but we put together a highlight video of the man who should be in the Hall of Fame, Kenny Riley. And I had a son on the show. I had him like right after you guys had him. And we had Bengal Jim is putting the Jungle to the Hall out there. I want to pop this up here real quick just to promote this for him. But if I don't know if are you planning on going to this, Ace? I think Zim said he might be going.
It's possible that we may be going there. I know that it is during, I believe, Father's Day weekend. So I have to hash some things out with the wife because I'm not sure. You already know. Happy wife, happy life.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We will be there. But they also do have, I believe, a golf tournament that they're going to have as well. And I think that's by Ken Riley II down here in Florida. So I might be able to get to that. I'm hoping to get to the Hall of Fame rally. I'd love to be there for sure, to be there in person. But I have to get permission from the wife first. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. I was planning on going. I was like, Jim, oh, yeah, dude, I'll definitely be there. He didn't have the date then. And then he sent me a text message, told me when the date was. I told my wife, she goes, we're going to be on vacation then. I'm like, no. I'm like, really? She's like, but my wife is awesome. She's like, all right, well, you can go and then we'll leave the next day. I'm like, cool. So I'm going. Nice. I'm just not staying the whole, I got to drive up and drive back, but I'm going because to me, Ken Riley it is ridiculous that he's not in the Hall of Fame. I know you and Zim got a documentary that I can't wait. I'm so excited to see it. I know Zim said you guys last time he was on the show, it wasn't ready. You didn't have a date yet. You're trying to clean it up or whatever. But yeah, I just want to go.
Yeah, we can't wait. I mean, this project is something special, guys. It's really near and dear to my heart because not only am I a Bengals fan, I'm also a FAMU alum. So he went to my school. I was really looking forward to actually interviewing him. I was trying to track him down a few years ago. But I couldn't find anybody that could get a number on him. And so that was something near and dear to me that I wanted to have. And I actually talked to Ken II and told him that. And he was like, man, he would have loved the fact that you went to his school and you were a Bengals fan. You guys could have probably talked for hours. So for me, it's a project that I've taken on that's near and dear to my heart. And we want to do it the right way and the best way possible, which is bringing the best kind of quality to it, getting the best people involved in terms of the videos and just everything. But I will tell you guys this. We showed it to Ken Riley II, and man, we almost had him tearing up at the end. So we're excited. We're excited for this project, and we just want to give him his just due, and not only just talk about him having, because you always hear the people say, "Oh, he's got X number of interceptions all the time." We're gonna give you a look into what the person was like. Like there's so many layers to this man that just like being a Hall of Fame cornerback for the Bengals was just honestly not even the most that he did. Like this guy did so many things, and that's what this documentary is going to tell you. Obviously, it's going to focus on the Bengals, but it's going to show all of the other stuff about the man Ken Riley as well. And I hope that someone from this Hall of Fame committee sees this and realizes the injustice that they've done to this gentleman.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like I said, I interviewed his son, and I mean, after he retired, he went back and coached his alma mater, your alma mater. And then he also ended his career. He retired as the athletic director there. Yep. And he also, I didn't know this. I was looking up stuff for the interview. He was in the running for a Rhodes Scholar.
Yep. He was a very smart guy.
So you got to be up here, big time, to be considered for that. On top of playing college football, dude.
Man, I mean, there's so many other things that he did. I was just motivated. Like, man, how could I even top what this guy has done? Like, there's boards and all kind of things that he really has sat on and done in his life. And I was just like, man, he truly gave so much service to his community and just to a lot of people, man. So I can't wait until we're able to share that story.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was determined I was going to get a Ken Riley old school jersey because that's what I wanted to wear, which I still might. It's not over yet. But dude, I can't get one for less than $200-something. I'm like, damn. I'm like, and then I text Ken Riley a second. I said, man, I try to get your dad's jersey. He goes, oh man, I had a whole bunch of them. I gave them all away. I'm like, dang it, I wish I would have known you sooner. I was like, man.
Okay, and this is the guy who I've sat beside for months now, and this is the first time I'm hearing it, Ace. So I hope your relationship is much better with your other hosts, okay? I really do.
I'll try to take care of myself, bro. I mean, come on now.
You're looking out for number one. I know.
Right, exactly. I mean, come on. The show is Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hello.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna get back into the free agent here real quick. How much time you got, Ace? I didn't ask you.
Got about 10 to 15 more minutes.
All right, we'll end it with this one real quick. I'll give you this one, and then we'll end it. But Sammy Watkins is still out there. Everybody wants him to, Galladay and all this want to get a free agent wide receiver. And from what I've heard, and Sammy Watkins, the Bengals, I think, reached out to him, but he wasn't interested in it because, and this is what I think the Bengals are having problems to try to get a legit wide receiver free agency because they know the Bengals are going to draft probably a possible starting wide receiver in the draft somewhere. So I think these guys don't want to come here because they might not get to play, so they want, or as much as they want to. I don't know. What have you heard about the wide receiver front or anything like that?
Honestly, I haven't looked into it that much myself. Sammy Watkins is interesting. I mean, I can see why people would be interested in him. He's 27 years old. This was a guy that when he came into the league was one of the top receivers coming out of college. Hasn't lived up to those expectations. The issue with him, though, is staying healthy. And I kind of wonder about that, especially with him being in Cincinnati, a cold weather team, and relying on Sammy Watkins. I don't know. I made a joke when I was on the AFC North Talk podcast, which is another podcast I do with some AFC North guys, that he probably broke his hand trying to sign a contract with the Ravens. So, he's got an injury history, so that's what kind of scares me away from him. But would I take Sammy Watkins? Of course I would at the right price, but I'd be worried that, how often are we going to see him suit up? Because I think even if you look at last season with the Chiefs, that wasn't often. When he was with the Bills, it wasn't often. And I think that's been the story of his career. Talented guy when he's available, but your best ability is availability. And if he's not on the field and he's not doing it, then, it's a hard pass for me if he can't stay on the field.
Well, the other thing I keep saying is if they do address, which I think they will address the wide receiver in the draft, somewhere in the draft, that puts Alton Tate as 4. That makes Michael Thomas your 5th. Right. I'm really okay with that. I mean, Michael Thomas, he is what he is, but him and Joe connected. I mean, when Joe was there, Michael Thomas was having a good year. Now all the wide receivers' numbers went down after Joe left, but Thomas, he was getting a lot of important catches too. It wasn't just first down. He was getting third down, some fourth down catches. So
touchdowns.
Touchdowns. Yeah. So if Tate and Thomas are your 4th and 5th, and you got, like I said, I hope Chase. You got Chase in there. Oh, good. Man. That's where I'm like, I'm not that worried about it. I'm kind of with you. I'm really not that worried about it.
Yeah. Right. And you know what? Personally, like you were saying, you take Chase, we don't really even need to draft another wide receiver unless we want to take one late.
A late one, yeah.
We're set. And I'm with you on that too, Ace, on our line. I mean, Reef, Jonah Williams, and you know what? Bringing back Spain, Suafila. Those guys have talent. Those aren't, just run-of-the-mill dudes. They're talented.
Right. And even if you get a guy like, let's say, for instance, you get Chase, right? What if Wyatt Davis is staring you in the face in the second round? You're good.
That's what I was going to say.
You're good. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it's like whether it's Wyatt Davis, whether it's Leatherwood, whether it's a guy that you think is a good tackle, maybe it's the kid from USC, Vera Tucker or something like that. Mm-hmm. You just go and get him in the second round. I mean, like guard isn't as hard to me. And, I've never played football, so I have to ask Willie Anderson this. But guard to me isn't as complex as playing left tackle. Like it's not something where you can't plug in a rookie and that guy does pretty solid for you at the position.
I played when I was 10, so I know a little bit about it. Okay.
He played
10 years old. So
dude, seriously, Ace, he played the position of left out. So
I did warm a lot of the bench, but it is a tougher position, just to let you know.
So it is tougher than left. I know that you have to have the athleticism and you have to pull and stuff like that. So
yeah. And I'm kidding. It literally was 10. I was 10 when I played football.
Nah, you're good, bro. At least you played it. That's more than I played guard position. So I totally take your advice on that for sure.
I hear you. And I have one more question for you, and then Jeff, I'm sure, has got something else, and then we'll let you get out of here. I know you only got a few more minutes. I'll tell you mine. You tell me yours. Favorite Bengal of all time to watch? Mine was.
I know the answer to this.
Mine is Jeff Blake.
Ooh, that's a great one, bro. That's a great one. For me, it's this guy sitting up here, man. Who's at the top? AJ Green. Jeremiah Green for me, man. And honestly, it's hard because I love Shad. I loved Corey Dillon. I loved a lot of guys that played for the Bengals. But there was no one outside of, and I think it's just special for me because that's when I really started getting into the draft, looking at highlights and stuff like that. And I remember finding this guy when I was like months before the draft, and I was like, this guy is unreal. Like AJ Green is unreal. I was like, they can't mess this up. They gotta take AJ Green.
Right.
And when they picked this guy, I literally jumped off of my couch. This is when I was in college. Me and my buddy, we had what we called the bachelor pad. We were talking about this draft beforehand, and I was like, man, I don't want the Bengals to take Blaine Gabbert. They got to take AJ Green. If they take Blaine Gabbert, I'm gonna like throw something in here.
And you were right.
AJ Green, I jump up, and that was the reaction that I had every time he got a touchdown. I mean, that was.
Exactly.
I mean, when the guy catches the pass against Troy Polamalu his rookie year, and he mosses him, and it was just so many exciting plays where I'm like jumping up. And you guys know me, I'm laid back, but when AJ Green is playing and making plays, I'm jumping up and going crazy. Like my wife is yelling at me to keep it down. Anytime he's making one of those crazy catches for a touchdown, when you feel like it's over, he was just the X factor for me.
Right.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
I'll get back into the guard talk here real quick, and I'll let you go because people in the chat are saying, well, if the Bengals draft a guard, they don't pay guards. Well, the thing is, if you draft a guy like Leatherwood, put him at guard, and then he could do the same thing Whitworth did. Move out to tackle.
See, a lot of people, thank you, Iceman, for saying that. A lot of people forget Andrew Whitworth started his career with the Bengals at guard. Yep. Once we let some of our tackles go, they slid him out to tackle, and he took over there, and he stayed at left tackle and became one of the best left tackles in Bengals history.
And the thing is, Leatherwood's not the only one that could do that. There's multiple guys that in this draft, they played tackle and then they can play guard in college. You can do the same thing. So that's where I'm saying. I'm like, that's why I think it's going to be guard at second round, and they're going to eventually, because Reef's only going to be here. You don't really sign for 1 year. They might re-sign up for a second year, but either way, that guy in your second round who's a guard is potentially be your right tackle in 2 years from now. And I'm like, then you go draft another guard. We're good.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you got one for 4 years. Yeah, they might not pay him, but you got him for 4 years. So
but the
pay
Joe
Burrow, a guard for 4 years. So I think that they would possibly pay him. I know that they did try to look into the guard market. We'll have to see where it's at 4 years from now. But I think that shouldn't keep you from taking one. Like, I don't think that you want to just roll out what you had out there last year because you're worried about 4 years from now they may not pay a guy. I'm worried about what just happened last season to Joe Burrow against the Washington football team more than are they going to pay a guy 4 years from now?
Right.
And, you know what?
Good.
Oh, go ahead.
You got to go.
I was just going to ask you real quick, too. It's a question I had written down, and I completely forgot about even asking you. But, we got 2025 coming up with the whole stadium situation.
Right.
We tried like hell last year to build up this defense. We did it again this year with an addition of Riley Reef, which is big time. We're going to have a full draft full of linemen and more weapons for Burrow, depending. And I'm also a big Uzama fan. I think
Uzama.
I love Uzama as well.
I injuries worry me. I'm with you there. May need to do. But when it comes to 2025 and the Bengals putting in all this work, do you see that kind of happening because we're getting closer to that date and they know that they're going to have happy fans they vote or however they decide to do it in Cincinnati to revamp the stadium?
That's
Do you kind of get that feeling?
That's a great question, Jeremy. I think that they are looking at 2025, and I think that's why the vision for Elizabeth Blackburn is coming, that she wants to connect with these fans because they know that they have work to do, and I think that this is a city that definitely supports the team and are diehard fans, and we just want a team that is going to be respectable, is going to go out and win, is going to be invested in its fans, is going to show us that why we pay for that stadium is we're getting the output of what we're putting into it, right? And so I think that definitely is at play, and I think that that's why they're starting now, and they're trying to revamp the image of this team and make them more successful by 2025 so that we can keep this team in Cincinnati. We want to keep the team in Cincinnati, but we want it to be a winning team. But I think the goal is you want to keep the team in Cincinnati. You don't want to lose it to any other city. No. I mean, honestly, they just, I think, announced today that they want to add another expansion team to the NFL. So I just want to keep the Bengals in Cincinnati. I just want to have a good team that we can keep there. And it's ours, right? It's ours. And I think that's what's most important about it, because you get to these other cities and they have 3 or 4 teams. But when you think about Cincinnati, a lot of the people, because I live in Florida now, but I'm born and raised in Cincinnati. But, a lot of people, when they think about Cincinnati, they think about the Bengals. And so I'd love to still have the Bengals there. And we just got to win a Super Bowl, bro. We got to win a Super Bowl. Yeah. And I would just love to see how that city would be.
Oh, it'd be nuts. They're going nuts up here right now because, I mean, my podcast isn't just Bengals. It's Reds, Bengals, Bearcats. But, I mean, all we're doing is talking about Bengals, which is fine. I love the Bengals. I'll talk Bengals all day long. I'm great with that. But that's
I still remember 2005, and I'm pretty sure 2015 mirrored that. I just remember the energy in the city, man. And you guys were there for probably some of those Super Bowls. I was unfortunately only like 1 year old at the time. I wish I could have been there, but I just love the energy in the city, bro.
That's right, man.
I was just telling Jeremy that the other day. That I said this is really reminding me of 2005. Carson Palmer's second year. It's just the vibe in the city because it's hooday everywhere. And I got to tell you this. I went down, me and wife, for our 24th anniversary. We went down to the Super Bowl for our trip down there. And I wore Bengals. We went to the fan zone and everything. I wore my Bengals jersey, my Burrow jersey. And I had fans. Some people are like, oh, who that? I got a ton of who days, actually. And then one guy go, Bengals? Why are you wearing the Bengals? I said, because we got Joe freaking Burrow. We about to win the Super Bowl here about 2 years.
Exactly.
I said a couple other words I want down here.
Being down here with just a whole bunch of different fan bases, the one thing that I can say is all last year, anytime I went somewhere and I had something Bengals on, they're like, you guys got Joe Burrow. Like, literally my friends, all of them, they never called me before this. But after we got Joe Burrow, you guys are going to be great. You guys are going to win. He's going to get you guys one. So we just got to protect number 9. And just trust in him. And I think that he's going to bring this city and make this city very happy and bring us a lot of success.
I do too.
Dude, that's why I was so excited because everybody's against Andy Dalton. I was never against Andy Dalton, but I always kept telling everybody, well, who do you want? I mean, it's not like all of a sudden you can get a great quarterback. I'm like, all right, who? And people are like, oh, AJ McCarron. I'm like, really? So I told a story before. In 2019, I knew who Joe Burrow was from Ohio State, but never really got to watch him play. I saw him it was week 0 against Texas. He balled out. I'm like, dude, I said, I think LSU's got themselves a quarterback. I said, then the Bengals season went down the toilet. And then I saw him against Alabama. I'm like, we need to get him. I'm like, lose all the other games. Go get Joe freaking Burrow.
I'm glad you were with me, Iceman, because me and Zem, we took some bullets, bro. We were early on that train, like, man, let's just go and get a new quarterback, because it wasn't anything, like you said, it wasn't anything against Andy Dalton. No. But he's a guy that needs everything around him to be perfect. And we knew as a team, the Bengals just didn't have that at the time. Like, you didn't have a good defense. You didn't have a great offensive line. You needed someone that could come in and just be able to raise the level of the team without everything being perfect. And I think that's just what Joe Burrow really did. I mean, we saw it last season. Offensive line was garbage. We didn't have a great defense, and he still had us in games.
Oh, yeah,
that's exactly right. And I live in SEC country. I got to watch every game, and I knew it was something special. And what I saw when I watched him, I knew the way we were playing that year towards the end of it, we were going to have the chance to get him. And I knew this is the guy that is going to take us past 2025, like I was talking about a little earlier. You know, without excitement like that, I mean, you know, and I got people down here all the time, Bengal fans, hey, Cincinnati, who day? That's right. Love it because you know what? We brought in Burrow. We've taken free agency these last 2 years and just nailed them into the ground. And you know what? I tell this to every Bengal fan, and I just try to get it across to them. All these groups are out there there's a million, you know. And there's people, the Bengals suck. I'm never buying another ticket. Well, all those people that never buying another ticket, Jeff and myself, this is one thing that we always say, and I just want to say this to you and see if you agree with it. But if we would happen to lose our Bengals in 2025, we would most likely, we can almost guarantee, we're not going to have another football team in Cincinnati.
Oh, no. If they could go to like a market where they're going to make, you know, like Las Vegas, right? Obviously, they have a team there, but they had another team in California or something like that. They're not bringing it back to Cincinnati, unfortunately. Yeah. And it sucks. I mean, we saw it already, right? The NBA team, we lost the Cincinnati Royals. They went to Sacramento. They've never been back since. We've never gotten another NBA team.
We had Oscar Robinson, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy, bro.
Right there. We had Oscar Robinson. And nobody, like, dude, Oscar was on that team. We let that team go.
Always joking. I say, move the Cavs to Cincinnati. We know what to do with them.
Yeah, exactly. All right, bro. You've been on for over an hour here for me. I appreciate you. I know you kept you on a little longer, but I appreciate you, brother. And everybody watch it. Check out him and Zim. It's the Orange is the New Black podcast. These guys are great. They're really fun. They're full of all kinds of Bengal information. And I told Zim, one of these days, like maybe after get toward the draft, we go 4 wide, have all 4 of us on either your show or my show. Either way you want to do it. I don't care.
Love it, bro. Appreciate you guys for having me. Who day,
brother.
Who day. Thanks, Ace.
All right, that was cool.
That was cool, man. I just enjoy the guests. I just there's so much knowledge, yet there's so much feeling. If you get what I'm saying,
they're fans and they're passionate like us, and that's what I love about it. I mean,
yes, they're passionate. And
I'll get on here and I'll holler and scream like a freaking madman, and I'm like, oh man, nobody's going to want to watch that. But then I sit there and watch them do the same thing. So.
Oh yeah, that's what it's all about. You know, it's passion and it's news. You're getting both of it, and to bring in a guest from another podcast who's trying to do the same thing we're doing. I mean, hell, we're not far. We're going to be right on. Actually, we're close. We're getting there. I mean, we're going to be up there, and it's because of so many other people like him that are out there doing the same thing, and all these Bengal fans are joining in, and it's awesome.
And I want to give a shout out to the Orange and Black Insider podcast because Anthony came on the end of their show last night and apologized to you, Jeremy, for calling you Josh.
Oh, my feelings were a little bit hurt. I will be honest. I don't want to lie. How you get Jeremy, Josh, it is what it is. People make mistakes, but bro, I absolutely don't care. We're good. I'll see you again. You can call me Jeremy. It'll work out just fine, bro. Thank you for the apology. That was not needed.
But yeah, hopefully I'll go 4 wide with Zim and Ace, and 4 wide sometime with Anthony and John. That would be a good show, and hopefully we can work that out sometime. I know these guys we all got busy schedules, so hopefully we can work that out sometime. But anyway, I think we're gonna roll on out of here. It's about 6:37, so
yeah.
So I'm gonna get to the point where I invite you guys to join the Facebook groups that let me live stream on their pages. They're all great groups. Who Day Nation, very interactive, very fun. Bengals group, another one out there is Bengals Nation. Very fun group. Check out those two. Reds group, Cincinnati Reds, rounding third, heading for home. The Ohio State Bucknuts, one of Jeremy's favorite groups. And then the Ice Bar, where you guys could, like I said, I try to explain what it is. It's a virtual bar. It's a show page. Like I actually posted on there last night. I said, what's your favorite beer? Mine's Bud Light. And I got roasted. I'm like, what? What's wrong with Bud Light? I like Bud Light. You like Coors.
Hey, I loved the activity that was on that post. Actually, that was a good post. A lot of people like a lot of different beer. That's fun.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys go on there, join the show, join the page. Like I said, please make sure you answer the questions. So I know, I know why you want to join the page, because I just don't want anybody just joining somebody on there just stirring crap up. So follow me on Facebook. It is blowing up. It's under Sports with Strawberry Ice. 843 people like this. I am up to 907 followers. That is awesome. Twitter, like I said, it's a little far behind, but please, if you're out there on Twitter, please follow me on Twitter. It's under Cincinnati Sports with Strawberry Ice. I have 229 people. I'm also on Instagram, not very much, but I'm on Instagram, TikTok. Me and Jeremy do silly TikToks, which that's another thing. We put that on the Ice Bar too.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a good one tonight, guys.
No, he's TikTok obsessed. Like seriously, he's like, do this TikTok. Like, dude, I'm sinking.
See,
yes,
it's like we're married. He blames stuff on me. Okay. I want a divorce.
Oh my goodness. All right, we'll be pulling the sound off and putting up on the podcast later on tonight. So make sure you like, rate, and review. I'm on BeanPod, Apple Podcast, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. And get a little. I have never heard of that beer in my entire life. So you were down in where is it? Jamaica, I think it is, or Dominican. I can't remember where you say you're from, but I've never heard of that one before. So I'm
me
sure
neither, bro. Maybe
you have to send it to me sometime. YouTubers, like I said, you guys, this has been awesome. I was at 912 yesterday. 912 people subscribed to my show. We're at 922 right now. That is awesome. Again, I appreciate you guys. This is great. Let's keep it rolling. Try to get to 1,000 as fast as we can. And other than that, Jeremy Dimebag, no longer called Josh Dean. Will you help us roll on out of here?
I sure will. And I added the dime bag for what was it? It was Crip, wasn't it? So
yeah, that's your boy.
Crip sent you some love. I think I saw you. Yeah, I see you.
Crip, me and Crip were talking on the Insider podcast last night. He's like, "What's up, Crip?" What's up, Crip?
Oh, Crip! I see.
Yeah,
okay, now
I was
you guys
cheating on you behind your back. See, you weren't even watching them. I was watching, and I was talking. Me and Crip were having a conversation. So
no, I think what you were doing was making fun of me behind my back.
Of course.
Yeah, Mr. Dimebag Dean, Jerry. Yeah. I get it now. I get it.
Well, I mean, it was on the internet where everybody could see it, so it really wasn't behind your back. You can go find it.
First off, I would like to welcome a few guys to Cincinnati really fast here, and that will be Trey Hendrickson, Mike Hilton, Awuzie, Ogunjobi, Reef, Kevin Hubert, re-sign, Clark Lewis Harris, re-sign, Quentin Spain, re-sign, Brandon Wilson, re-sign, and Ricardo Allen from the Falcons. So I want to tell all those guys to come in, put it all together, give it all they got, work towards next year's contract.
And come on our show.
Actually, you know what? That's better than next year's contract. Come on our show,
right?
Do really well this year, and then get a second-year contract with Cincinnati next year. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So I want to welcome our new free agents. Welcome to Bengaldom. This is the crazy section right here. We are the nuts. So you guys want to come hang out with us, you can anytime. I'm sure you're watching right now. Yeah, sure they're watching right now. If you're not, you're probably going to watch it later, guys. So I've named all your names. You can't get mad at me. Give me your Jeff a holler. Jump on the show. And one more thing, guys. Every single person on our YouTube account, Sports with Strawberry Ice, ask one friend, one family member to come and join us. We will be way over where we want to be, and then we can grow from there. So, other than that,
everybody all together,
remember one thing and one thing only, and that is you don't live in Cleveland, you live in Cincinnati. Who day? Let's keep rocking it, boys.
Who day? And that's just sports, baby. See ya!